Welcome to Season 3 of the NAC 4 Business Podcast. Over 250 episodes strong, we're here to ignite your entrepreneurial spirit with fresh insights, networking gems, and creative strategies that elevate your game. Are you ready to discover what your NAC 4 business truly is? Your hosts are Bernie Fransgrote from Creative Insight and Wayne Pratt from Motive 8U Inc.
Today's topic is how to bond sales and marketing departments. Now, from an audience perspective, if you want to know why you're going to be listening to this show, is how can you get your sales and marketing teams to stop working against each other and actually drive growth together? Our guest today is Stefanie Curtis from Pace Creative Group. Stefanie is the CEO and founder of Pace Creative Group, an award-winning full-service B2B marketing and communications agency. With over 17 years of experience, Stefanie has helped business generate over $1 billion in revenue by aligning sales and marketing to drive growth. She works closely with executives to break down silos, creating strategies that are data-driven, customer-focused, and designed for long-term success. Leading a team of 24 experts, Stefanie ensures Pace Creative Group delivers solutions that build trust, drive accountability, and fill expertise gaps for clients. Her passion for collaboration and innovation reflects the NAC principles: knowledge, networking, architecture, and connection, and tailored solutions, making her a trusted leader in transforming sales and marketing into powerful, unified forces for growth. Stefanie, welcome. And what's your favorite quote or saying, ma'am?
My favorite quote is "Success is best when it's shared," or Howard Scott's.
Excellent. I understand you have a favorite hero, too.
Yes, John Chambers, the CEO of Cisco Systems. I like him a lot because he emphasizes teamwork, adaptability, and fostering collaboration to drive business growth.
So tell us about the journey of coming into Pace Creative. How did this all come about?
That's a good question. It came about 17 years ago, actually. Out of university, I started my first agency with 4 other business partners. Did a lot of marketing communication, but really on the production side of things. So you call in, you need a website, we're doing a website. Fast forward a couple of years, we started to work with Fortune 500 companies on product launches. And looking at their framework, we understood how they aligned sales and marketing efforts to drive revenue. So we decided to master that framework and created Pace Creative in 2012.
So are you finding that as you're helping the siloed sections come together, work together, do you find that is prevalent in larger organizations, smaller organizations, or, gee, it's everywhere if they're in a bit of a competitive streak?
So it's everywhere. I think at the get-go, for startups, it's even more difficult when there's a lot of miscommunication or misunderstanding of what is sales versus what is marketing, or what is the role of sales and marketing. That's at the startup stage or the beginning stages. Once teams are put together and you're growing their business, it will create some conflict and growth pains. And on a larger scale, I'm surprised to see what I see, but I think it's from a structure perspective. It's the structure of the large organization that are not facilitating a good relationship between sales and marketing, basically. It's not because the teams do not want to talk to each other. It's the organizational structure that dictates that misalignment.
Speaking of misalignment, why don't you actually take us back a step? Why don't you tell us what marketing is versus what sales is?
So marketing, it both actually work on the revenue growth. They both work on growing the business. The marketing side is really about looking at your product or your service, what problem you're solving, and communicating that to the audience in a way that resonates. The purpose of marketing is to bring in leads, marketing qualified leads, and help and support the sales function in transforming them in sales qualified leads. So that's on the marketing side. Wayne, do you want to maybe jump in on the sales side?
All I know is that sales says the marketing department isn't doing a good enough job, and marketing says salespeople don't know how to sell. I think it's just a way to start a fight.
So I don't believe that. Again, I think salespeople is an expertise. It's a skill set. And marketing is its own skill set. I'll give you an example. Someone asked me recently, potential client actually asked me, Stefanie, what about if you put our marketing team on commission? And I'm like, if you put your marketing team on commission, you'll have no marketing team at all. The mindset is completely different. And I said, you're talking of people with frameworks and strategies, same as sales, but just different mindsets. And so we were laughing about this. But sales and marketing are different functions. The way I see it is really marketing is there to support sales in many ways, developing the communication strategy, developing content to generate marketing assets to support the buyer's journey and the sales efforts. Gartner report shows that back in the day, you had 7 touch points. Today, you have 27. That means marketing has to work much harder to support the sales function. That's the way I see it. So maybe, and I totally understand when sales team is saying the marketing team is not doing their work. I understand it because there's so much more work that the marketing team has to do to support the sales team.
So would it be wrong to say that marketing is what draws the attention and sales does the close then, and this brings it home?
I would agree with you, Bernie. Sometimes sales and marketing needs to be supported. So that's that one last case study or that one last reference that you need, and like whatever it may be. And marketing can jump in as well.
So larger corporations, and even outside of marketing and sales, there's an annual budget for the business overall, a global budget. Each department gets a budget, whether you're manufacturing, shipping and delivery, procurement, marketing, or sales, especially if they're not under the same budget line per se. Is that one of the barriers that helps foster this? It's a competitive sport and it's the wrong type of competition being set up. Is that one leg of the barrier? And are there other elements like that?
The line item, again, I think that it's my fault. You have CFOs that tell you it's 25% of top revenue for marketing and sales, and it's not clear line items. That doesn't help putting together a marketing budget. And then you've got more experienced CFOs who work with the CMO or the marketing function and the sales function to come up with a budget together that actually makes sense based on the growth goals, right? So again, if you want to plateau and if you're not interested in growing too much, that sales and marketing budget needs to reflect that. But if you wish to double your sales revenue, whatever it may be, then you need to have marketing budget to support those efforts, those growth efforts. If you have a sales team already in place.
I must admit, I'm teased by your numbers where you help companies generate $1 billion in sales. Tell us about that billion with a B.
It's funny that you ask. So a good example for you, there is a family business that we're working with as a client. It is a $1 billion company. They've been in business for over 75 years in Canada. And they have decided 2 years ago to embark into a new product launch and commercialize a new product. And the reason they hire Pace Creatives is because they want to double their revenue. So they want to go from 1 billion to 2 billion within 5 years. And it's been an amazing adventure, truly amazing. We did a soft launch for the new product. And the first event, we signed the first deal, which was $270 million. We'll take some of the credit for it. The messaging is resonating and it's working. The industry is interested in a new product.
So would you say that you're providing the fractional service or are you providing the coaching for these folks to figure it out? Like, where do you fit into the scheme of things? Do you fit in, I can do this piece and this piece for you, or I can train your guys to do this piece, or I can look at what you got and go, here are your pain points?
So we do it all, Bernie. We do it all. And again, because we work with such a wide range of clients. We have startup clients, 3.5 million in revenue, wanting to grow to 5 million or 10 million. Usually they don't have someone leading the marketing function. I'll be acting as a fractional CMO for them until the function is fully fleshed out. I will be putting the marketing roadmap for the year, quarterly business reviews, monthly reporting. For Fortune 500 companies, I act more of a coach, or not even a coach, but more of an advisor. That's really my role. I'm not here to be a fractional CMO or CMO. It's really an advisor, looking at what they have, identifying gaps together, and putting a plan on how to fit in those gaps, using their own resources, or maybe having Pace Creative filling the gaps with our own expertise. As long as we get it done, that's the idea. The medium-sized companies are the most interesting. Some will have CMOs in place, right? We act as a full-service agency. The CMO puts a strategy together, the roadmap, and then we implement that roadmap. We still do strategy, but the strategy per channel. So let's say you want to do an online presence. You want your website to generate leads. That's its own strategy. How to turn a website into a lead generation machine. You want to create a strategy, who we're targeting, and how to create a strategy to create content that resonates with specific companies you want to go after. So each channel or each project would have its own strategy, and then we'll implement that strategy once we get approval. I hope this answers your question, Bernie, but I'm just trying to say there's so many different needs.
You provide custom solutions.
That's correct. Everything is tailored.
Stefanie, some of our listeners are solopreneurs and they've got a business card and a cell phone. How do you decide you actually need a marketing department?
That's a tough one, and it's difficult, right? Because it comes down to revenue and how much you have left for expenses. So I think the question is for the solopreneurs, how much do they want to reinvest in the business to build a structure versus staying a one-person show and happy where they are? In general, for solopreneurs, I would say less is more. I see a lot of startups running and they don't even know how to crawl. They don't have a communication strategy. They don't have a positioning statement, and yet they have a full website. To me, it doesn't make any sense. And I keep on telling them, a landing page is good enough. You don't have to go crazy. There's no need for you to invest a lot in marketing until you have your foundational tools or strategies in place. So I don't know if it answers your question, Wayne, but I would say less is more. And a business card with a good messaging or good positioning is good enough until there's budget to grow. And grow means a landing page. Doesn't mean a full flashed website. And then it's really looking at creating a marketing budget within the business. What I see a lot is people, I'll give an example, a startup that came to me and said, Stefanie, I love marketing and I want to invest in marketing. I said, what's your revenue? Less than $1 million. I cannot take you on. I need to understand your revenue and how you do your pricing. And is there a budget for marketing? Did you put in your pricing 10%, 15% of budget? Turns out she didn't. You have to think about the entire business. Operations, a budget to grow your business on the operational side. Do you have a budget for HR? And what are your priorities? And turns out operations is a priority, not marketing. So those are the conversations I have with solopreneurs to make sure that when they are investing in marketing, they're not stressed about the investment. It's a sound investment.
Makes great sense to keep the costs in understanding. If I'm selling a widget and it costs $1 to flip it, I got to cover my operating expenses. It's like you're running a building, right? When you rent a building, there's the rent and then there's the operating expenses per square foot. Same concept.
Absolutely.
When you're looking at a business, let's say someone who's maybe $1 million and up in sales, and they're looking to expand, but they realize that expansion is stymied because they don't have alignment between marketing and sales. What type of person has to be there? What type of person does that leader have to be? What's their perspective or point of view they have to have?
It's a tough one. What type of leader? I think it's a curious one in many ways. I think it's a leader that really does his homework and reads a lot, meets with a lot of people, and has some type of business consultant, a coach to guide priorities and how to make decisions, again, to make sure that decisions are investments and not expenses. And I think that's really important, especially at the initial stages of the business. Most of the clients are actually on their last exit. They usually, yes, that's most of my clients at Pace Creative. They're planning their retirement or on their last exit, but those, I would say, sophisticated buyers in many ways because they've seen it all. They've had their fair of experience and mistakes, and they know what questions to ask. They know what to look for in an agency partner, and that makes for good relationships and successful ones.
It almost sounds like that's putting the polish. If they're ready to exit, that means they're ready to sell. If they don't have a succession plan, the succession plan is make this as pretty as it can be, and then to increase profits, which means to increase saleability.
And valuation. Absolutely. Yep. It's all about the valuation.
I'm interested in how a marketer markets. When you're your client, how do you market?
This is a tough one. So we have an online presence for sure. I think it's all about partnership. Our clients become partners and referral partners. Some have become friends and referral partners. It's about networking and keeping in touch with our network. I've been doing this for 17 years, Wayne. It's been a long time, but yeah, I think the success is those keeping relationship with those partners and clients and past clients. I think the biggest problem with us is that a lot of our clients get acquired and they retire after this. This is our biggest problem. Keeping track of who got acquired and if they decide to retire. And over the years, a lot of them have decided to retire. I think that's our biggest challenge. But other than that, staying in touch with our network. We have partners and clients that give us referrals, and that's how we get our next new client. And I think it's the best because, again, I've been doing this for a long time. We're actually very picky on the type of clients we take on. We are a boutique style business consulting firm, after all. And so we don't take on that many new clients every year, maybe 4 to 6 net new clients. That's it. And each one of them have different needs. So it will be a tailored solution for each. And so we're really not looking, we're not growing crazy and need that extra client to pay the bill. That's not where we are at. Again, we're more like business consultants. I want to say this because the team in general doesn't work overtime. We 9 to 5 in many ways. And we're trying to reduce stress for everybody involved. So that's why we think of us as a more business consulting firm than actually an agency. Very few people will stay after hours and things like that. Our referral network is really what brings us our next client, which is usually a very good fit and works for us.
When you provide service and you're working with somebody, the key performance indicators, KPIs, what are the KPIs you're looking for? Obviously, it's money. And with sales, the revenue has started to increase. But what other indicators are there?
So it depends. Sales and marketing are all different. They share like the top revenue for sure. If we work with sales and marketing together in collaboration, then we look at the profit margin, the bottom line. How much marketing costs to get that next sale? And really looking at that. We also look at the cost of getting a next client. What's that looking like holistically, not just all on the marketing side or on the sales side. These are some of the top ones. And of course, there's more granular KPIs.
So do you find that when you're doing this, there's less turnover in the staff? Because, that if you have somebody who's a rookie coming in is not the same as the seasoned professional. And if there's a churn, that slows down capabilities.
Are you talking about KPIs now? Or are you talking about sales KPIs?
It can be part of the performance indicators. In other words, if your labor force is moving around a lot on you, they're not staying a long time. Unless, of course, you have a really simple script. Follow this. These are the three steps to success in doing the tango. But if it's a complicated dance, you want someone to stick around, right?
Yeah, because we do lead through strategy, planning, and then work on the execution. When we work with clients, we actually put all of this together. Like we do put strategy together. We share some of it with newcomers, it's part of the onboarding process. And then there is training to get them up to speed as quickly as possible. So we do put all of that in place. Again, first on the sales side, if it's a new employee on the sales side, then the sales leader will be doing that, and then the marketing will be there to support it. And we have a playbook to explain how marketing supports sales throughout the buyer journey, and every single steps and what marketing or what actions or initiatives we have in place to support the sales team. I would say we've had very good success in onboarding new employees quite fast because of the way we are structured in our processes.
Are there industries where this layout makes more sense or industries where it isn't as good a fit? How much of this is industry specific?
That's a good question. Personally, I think it's a good business. I don't think it's industry specific. What do you think?
I think that as you were talking about, let's say I'm selling widgets, I get it. And you're doing the B2C or even other businesses. But there are other businesses out there that provide service. I'm thinking like healthcare institutions or schools. Even if you're a private school, a part of it is the educational piece or the healthcare piece if it's a hospital. Having been inside a healthcare institution, It's interesting because you have the foundation. They're always out there going, hi, we're really being helpful. The province is actually the client, one of the stakeholders, I guess is a better way to describe it. Do you find that it would fit well, this type of concept, in a atypical business? And a typical being, hi, here's a widget, here's a piece of SaaS, software as a service coming out, and hi, buy my iteration one, versus something that is not typically seen as a business, but it functions as a business.
I do think so. The government is a very good example. I just received an email from HS this morning, actually, the Alberta Health Services, because we do work with them. We're on their vendor list. And it's really the way we help from a communication perspective. The current communication is very much, I would say, not friendly, actually, not customer friendly, or to something that is. So how to transform it, and you're talking about even schools and things like that, right? How to transform the communication to make it easy for the audience, whatever audience that may be. It could be parents, it could be teachers, it could be suppliers, easy to understand and to take next steps.
Yeah, even inside a healthcare institution, the primary goal is health, but they'll have microcosms of businesses within that space. So if you're dealing with a really large company and they have a division that, produces apparel, another division, they produce integrated electronics, and for some reason they match up. How do you handle it? Is that per sector, or is it per the entire company, or do you parse it out depending on the nature of the beast of the transaction being had?
Yeah, so it really comes down to buyer journey, right? It comes down to buyer journey, identifying who's your ICP, who's your persona, and customizing the communication, the content, and the marketing assets with the sales cycle. So you're right, every single one of them is different, and they need to be tailored. It's not because I understand what you're saying, but a lot of times you think, oh, it's a big corporation, so we have the same message for everybody. But no, actually, everything needs to be selected, analyzed, and then put into a bucket, right? And tailored so that it resonates. The days where you had general communication and marketing for everyone are gone. The reader or the audience is looking for something targeted and tailored to suit their needs or the problem they're trying to solve.
Does technology change marketing? Are things different now than they were 30 years ago? And if so, how?
It's a good question. So this is a question that I'm typically not very popular on. So I do believe technology is great as a tool, to be used as a tool, especially for some sales function that can be administrative or extremely repetitive. I think it can be used to help with efficiency. I see a lot of content written by AI, and for a sophisticated audience, that is detrimental. That's what I see. But again, I'm telling you, like, these are my thoughts, and probably not the most popular.
All our smart mobile devices are always listening. If you start talking about, I really like to go to a vacation in New Zealand, you say it enough times. It's like you just done, say it 3 times, or click your heels 3 times, and you're out of Kansas and you're somewhere else. But that's because the AI is listening. And then all of a sudden things are starting to get pushed at you. So to me, that's the marketing piece. I mean, even if you're sophisticated, you just gear up the message accordingly. That said, I think the technology's there. It just goes more back to the point you were saying earlier. If you stripped out the technology, what's the plan? What's the next steps? Technology can be leveraged if it's a good fit. Some people do not like knowing, why is that phone listening to me right now? I have a device here that has its ears on right now, and I can ask it a question and it'll give me an answer, right? And it's always listening. It almost sounds like the line out of a movie. Always listening, right? Anyhow, but that feedback loop from a client perspective, they have the end customer, because that's eventually who you're going to address. If they're sophisticated, it'll have certain flavors. And if it's less sophisticated, or the product is not sophisticated, how do you take that information in? How do you gather that information? I just touched on an automated version, but sometimes it's survey says. How do you scoop that in? What are your keys in that space?
No, that's a good question. So this is where again sales and marketing needs to align. So the marketing team needs to talk to the sales team on an ongoing basis, get the insight from the sales team, sometimes even attend calls with the sales team, whatever needs to happen to get all of that information and insight from the people who are in contact directly with the customers on a regular basis. Again, I truly believe the marketing function is there to support the sales team to move the needle on the buyer's journey.
I remember as a follow-up to that, it's a platform and tracks the customer journey, right? And what it does, it monitors social media feeds. When someone says, I bought XYZ, and what do I do now? They're trying to crowdsource the information, and the software picks it up and goes, oh, and notice one of the staff going, give them the answer they're asking, right? Or the AI might identify it and push out a response to keep the customer happy in a friendly manner. Do you find that there are other tools that can be capitalized on that way?
So a chatbot is actually a very good example. When clients want chatbots on their website, you could have a generic chatbot, for instance, right? But again, we look at everything from strategic perspective and looking at the customer journey, the buyer's journey, and aligning the chatbot with the buyer journey, and we map out the customer journey. There are ways to create an amazing chatbot that actually will help, again, aligning sales and marketing efforts. And so that's really, it's a very good example. Now, are there enough chatbot that I customize and tailored? I don't think there's not enough of them out there. A lot of them are extremely generic, which tends to be detrimental to the company. But again, it's a business decision. Others, I think it's a very good one. This is the one that comes up the most, the chatbot one, Bernie. There are other chatbot like on social media as well that we're looking into implementing for some of our clients. At the end of the day, it comes down to the business, the growth objectives, and what tools could help them get there faster. There's so many tools out there. There's thousands of tools. We do marketing technology strategies just because of that, looking at what's the ecosystem you currently have, and is it the right ecosystem based on your future needs and your current needs, and making some recommendations on how to trim it down. Usually it's a trim down. It's really to trim down and then rethink it. Research has shown, actually, and this is true, I think it's a Gartner report that says that most companies only use 30% of the tool's functionality they purchased, but the goal should be 70%. That's how we look at it from a strategic perspective. What are the tools that we can use 70% of the functionalities, and then we start adding new tools based on your needs. But I don't think that's being done. Typically, it's, oh, I need this, I need that, I need this. It's only $29 a month, I'm going to get it. Or it's only $19 a month, I'm going to get it. So it's a mismatch. It's not strategic. It's not thought through. It's not planned out. Oftentimes not integrated to the CRM. It's not tailored. There's no strategy to the tool and how it's being used. So it's not as effective as it could be.
You mentioned about integrating to the CRM. There's a piece of our listener who doesn't use this language. What does integrating the CRM?
Integrate, there's different ways you're right, there's different definition of integration. The first one is we were talking about marketing and technology. So there's a technology integration. So for instance, a survey tool integrated to a CRM, a customer management, the relationship management software. That could be an example. Or for us even, it's tracking, data tracking. Can GA4 integrate with the CRM to do the reporting between sales and marketing and align that reporting to see how many MQLs have turned into SQLs? That's an integration in itself from a technology perspective. Then there's also integration within the tool itself. Again, from a strategic perspective, what's the buyer's journey? How are we customizing the tool itself to match with the sales cycle? And then get marketing to support from a communications perspective. It's how do we write this email? What content should be in that first email? Should it be a short email, a long email? How many call to action? 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd be surprised what we see. Removing any confusion in the communication. Sometimes even talking about cadence of the communication. We see clients who communicate every day or every 2 days, and it's overloading the potential client. So things like that. Is there one that you want us to focus on, or one you had in mind?
I think from a CRM perspective, again, from our audience base, a lot of them are at how do I say, they're not at the million and over yet, or they might be getting there, but understanding that integration so that you push out a message. Good example would be, and although I think the sales might be a bit stronger, mortgage broker. They know that the clock starts, it had a successful mortgage renewal, or they got you a mortgage and it's for 5 years, right? And they put a tickle reminder for the date. Yeah, send person X. Or I've talked to realtors and they track the person's birthday or some other seminal date that's important to the client. And they'll send flowers or a light touch communication. And so they've wrapped that as part of their marketing strategy. Because then later on, when they go to do the sale, if it's a one-to-one, it's easier for them. And I think that integration is what we're trying to tie in. Understanding the CRM is the person's name. It has contextual understanding of date and time reference points and something that's a trigger. And I guess that's the key then, right? To act next. So is there a platform that you've seen that really works well, or what's a strategy that you should look for compatibility?
It's a good question. So again, there's plenty of platforms out there. I follow when I need them and to do an assessment, but I'm not an expert in marketing tools. I would say that there are some CRM that do have email automation and trigger emails at a certain time. Very few, but some. I'm a technology agnostic agency, so I'm not here to promote anybody. But some CRM have done a good job at meeting small business needs versus others. And you might be surprised. So very few, but there are some who has done a good job. If you want an example, High Level is one that comes up quite often versus HubSpot. You might think HubSpot, but actually this is not the case. High Level is the one that can help small businesses at an early stage, help them ramp up. And it's also easy to convert or easy to upscale when needed to another CRM. So that's why it is a good option. And something to think about. You also have to plan your growth, right? So it's not about what your needs now, but how you're going to move on to the next CRM or to the next tool, and how easy or difficult that transition is going to be. Something that really needs to be thought through at the beginning stages.
So if you had a key from our discussion of something you'd like to impact or empower to our audience, what one or two things would you like them to take away?
The first one is lead through strategy. Always think strategically about making a decision. And the second one is planning, not just for your needs today, but plan for your future needs. Every entrepreneur has a different goal in mind, right? Some entrepreneurs are happy at the 1 million mark, and some others want to go to the 10 million mark revenue goals. Everybody has a different goal in their mind. They have a different definition of success. So based on that, my suggestion would be to strategically think about any decisions related to the business to meet your future needs, but also your current needs, and then plan accordingly.
How big is your world? How big is your client base? Where do you service?
We service all over North America. A lot of our clients are actually in the US at this point. We love to help more Canadian businesses print money, because that's exactly what we do for our American clients.
If someone wanted to reach out to you, how do they connect with you? What's the best way?
LinkedIn is probably the best way. And of course, on the website, we have a contact form.
Excellent. I want to say thank you to Stefanie Curtis, my co-host Wayne Pratt, and you, the Knack for Business listeners. If you are interested in understanding more about the marketing journey and the sales journey, working hand in hand, Pace and Creative is the company for you, and Stefanie's the person to talk with.
To reach the podcast hosts, email them at info@creativeinsight.com or by the website creativeinsight.com, spelled KREATIVINSIGHT.com. To reach Wayne at his email, Wayne@motivate.uca. That is MOTIVE the numeral 8 and the letter U.ca, or his website Motivate.ca. If you would like to be a guest on this podcast and share your knowledge, let us know. We would also appreciate your feedback on the content or format. Check the show notes for more details. For these podcasts, we like to acknowledge the support and thanks to the following people. Carl Richards from Podcast Solutions Made Simple, a renowned podcast expert. Fred Crouch, who is the Property Wizard podcaster, where Bernie is a co-host. Jovan Strika from At Hive, a co-working space that is more than just a space. Then Melanie Weber, Bernie's invaluable business partner, and Wayne Pratt from Motivate.u Inc., who serves as both a coach and co-host of these podcasts. Disclaimer: please note that the NAC 4 Business podcast episodes are meant solely for educational and general informational purposes. The information and opinions contained within are not intended to be professional advice on any subject matter. The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the participants are their own personal beliefs and do not represent the views of the podcast hosts or any affiliated organizations. It is important to note that this podcast is not a replacement for consulting with certified experts in your area who possess knowledge of your unique situation. The hosts of the podcast, along with any participants or affiliated groups, do not take responsibility for any actions taken or not taken based on the information presented in this episode. It is highly recommended that individuals seek guidance from their own personal advisors in fields such as accounting, law, or other pertinent areas prior to undertaking any actions or making decisions that may impact their financial, legal, or other aspects of life.